Om Sang Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste. On page 244, what happens in samadhi cannot be put into words. One can only give a faint hint after coming out from it. Is that true? When I repeat Om, Om after coming out from samadhi, I have come down at least 100 cubits. Brahman is beyond Vedic principles. There exists neither I nor you. As long as I and you exist, as long as there is the feeling that I am praying or meditating, so long also exists the feeling you, God, are listening to my prayers, and also the awareness that God is a specific being. The feeling that you are the master and I am the servant. You are the whole and I am a part. You are the mother and I am the child will remain. This feeling of difference is as follows. I am one and you are another. God himself makes us feel that way. It is on account of this that we recognize the differences between man and woman, light and darkness, and so on. As long as there is the perception of this difference, one has to admit energy or a personal God. It is he who has installed the ego in us. You may reason 1,000 times, but the ego never disappears. As long as ego exists, we maintain this individuality. Therefore, as long as the ego persists, as long as there is the feeling of difference, one can never assert that Brahman is formless without attributes. One has to admit Brahman with attributes. The Brahman with attributes has been declared by the Vedas, the Puranas, and Tantras as Kali, or the primary energy. Bijoy. By what means can one have vision of this primary energy and the knowledge of Brahman without attributes? Sri Ramakrishna. Pray to him with the sincerity of your heart and cry. In this way your heart will be purified. You will see the reflection of the sun in clear water. You will see the Brahman with attributes, the primary energy, and the reflection of the ego. But the mirror must be wiped perfectly clean. There will not be a clear reflection if it is dirty. If you seek the knowledge of Brahman without attributes, first perceive the reflected sun and then see the real sun. If you pray to the same Brahman with attributes who listens to prayers, he will give you the knowledge of Brahman without attributes. Because he who is the Brahman with attributes is himself the Brahman beyond attributes. That which is energy is also Brahman. The realization of non-duality comes upon the attainment of complete wisdom. Mother also bestows the knowledge of Brahman without attributes. But a true lover of God does not crave for the knowledge of Brahman without attributes. There is another path, the path of union through knowledge. It is a very difficult path. You who belong to the Brahmo Samaj are not actually followers of the path of knowledge. You are devotees and lovers of God. Those who follow the path of knowledge believe that Brahman is the reality. The world is unreal, like a dream. I, you, and everything else are like a dream. God is the inner knower of all. Pray to him with a pure mind and sincere heart. He will allow you to understand everything. Renounce your ego. Take refuge in him. You will find everything. Can you sing that song?
Yeah.
mind dwell within yourself. Do not go into anyone else's house. Whatever you will want, you will find without moving. Search in the sanctum within you. The philosopher's stone, God within, is the supreme treasure. It can give you whatever you ask for. So many gems lie strewn all over the outer court of the philosopher's stone. Whenever you meet with people who do not belong to your group, love them all. Be one of them in their company and never entertain any malice towards them. Don't maintain any conflicting attitude saying he believes in God with form and he does not believe in a formless God. That one believes in God without form and that does not believe in God with form. Leave all that.
What annoying is that, Ron?
This is, one is a Hindu and that one is a Muslim and he again is a Christian. God has given different understanding to different people. Know that people are of different natures. Mingle with all with this understanding and love them all. Retiring into your inner sanctum afterwards, you will enjoy peace and bliss. Gyana chalao, apnar ka, ar divya matak, sheshimukh prakash dekha, e Brahma Swarup. Ji, Brahma Mohi, Gyana Jwala. Light the lamp of wisdom in your room. See the face of the Divine Mother, the embodiment of Brahman. See your true self within your own room. When the cowherds go to the fields to graze their cattle, the cattle all get mixed up. They all form one herd. But when they return to their sheds, they become separated again. They remain separate, alone in their sheds. Sannyasi should not say for the future, this was a good use of resources by many Paul. It was after 10 o'clock at night when Sri Ramakrishna got into a carriage to return to the Kali temple. With him were a few accompanying devotees. The carriage was standing under a tree in deep darkness. Benny Paul came forward with some luchis and sweets to send with Ramakrishna for his nephew Ramlal. Benny Paul: Sir, Ramlal could not come. With your permission, I want to send some prasad for him. Sri Ramakrishna anxiously: Oh, Babu Benny Paul, please do not send those things with me. It will be harmful for me. I cannot store anything extra to take with me. Please do not mind. Benny Paul: Just as you wish, sir. Please bless me. Sri Ramakrishna, we have shared great happiness today. See, he alone is a man who makes wealth his servant. Those who do not know the proper use of money are not men, even though born as human beings. They have the figure of a man, but the conduct of an animal. You are blessed. You have filled many devotees with bliss. On page 248, chapter 13, October 26, 1884, Dakshineswar, this is the first discussion. And this is a discussion between Thakur, the respected Manmohan, devotees of Dakshineswar, and a description of his activities with the devotees. Come on, brothers, we're going to have darshan again of that great man. We're going to look at that child. He does not know anything except the Divine Mother. He's taken on a body just for us. He's going to tell us how we're going to resolve all the great difficulties of wearing a body in this lifetime. He's going to tell it to the sannyasis. He's going to tell it to the householders. He is an avatar, an incarnation of God. In the Kali temple of Dakshineswar, he is waiting for us. Come on, everybody, let's go. We're going to see him. He wears infinite qualities. He is the image of satisfaction. When you hear the words flowing from his mouth, tears will fall from your eyes. Come on, brothers. He is the ocean of infinite qualities of compassion and grace. He is the vision of love. Day and night, he is absorbed in the vision of God. He has taken a human body so we can experience his divine nature and his beautiful countenance. Today is Sunday, the 26th of October, 1884. It is winter. It is the 7th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Kartik in November. It is in the second prahara of the evening, it's the early evening. Ramakrishna is sitting in that same old room talking to the devotees. On the western side of the room, half of the moon is shining onto the veranda. To the west of the veranda is a path that leads to the garden. The path extends to the north and to the south. To the west of the path is a garden full of flowers that will be offered to Mahakali. To the west are the pure flowing waters of the Ganga. There are many devotees present because today is going to be a day of great bliss. The very embodiment of bliss, Sri Ramakrishna, is going to mesmerize and hypnotize the devotees assembled with the love of God. What a wonderful sight! It's all bliss! The devotees reflect the intoxication of the bliss of their master. Down in the garden, the leaves of the trees are exuding a fragrant scent. The rays of the setting sun are reflecting on the waters of the Ganga. This entire scene is giving bliss to all who perceive it. What a wonder! This is the truth of all truths. This is the sweetness of the indivisible kingdom. Even the dust and dirt in the garden are filled with bliss. I have a secret desire to mix with the dust of the earth because it contains so much bliss. I have the desire that I could stand on one side of the garden all day and take darshan. My desire is to hug all the leaves, flowers, shrubs, and trees in the garden with love and affection. Can you imagine that Sri Ramakrishna walks on this earth with his own feet? Can you imagine that he walks along beside all these creepers, trees, plants, and flowers? I have the desire that I could just sit in the breeze and gaze at the moon, because I am seeing that on this earth all the inhabitants are laughing with joy and love. The pujari of the temple regards everyone as a relative, as part of the family, because for a long time there has been great sweetness exuding from the holy presence of Ramakrishna. In the atmosphere, in the Ganga, in the temple of the gods, along the path of the garden, in the trees, in the flowers, all the devotees are feeling united with all creation. The whole of creation is comprised of the same components as Ramakrishna. It's like a garden made of wax. The leaves, the trees, the fruits, the path, the gardener, all the inhabitants, even the beautiful house situated there, all are made of wax. It's all made of bliss. Sri Manmohan M. and a few others were present. On the eastern side were Hazra, Isana, and Hriday. Balaram and Rakhal were in Vrindavan. At this time, new devotees came and went. Narayan Boltu, little Narayan. Tejo Chandra, Binod, and Puripot. Babu Ram sometimes came and stayed. Ram, Suresh, Devendra, and other devotees often came. Some came for 1 week, some for 2. Latu stayed all the time near the house of Jogin and came often. Narendra came occasionally, but when he came, it was so beautiful. We had a lot of fun. Narendra sang with such a beautiful voice, and he sang the name of God. Ramakrishna often went into samadhi when Narendra sang. It was like a great festival going on all the time. Ramakrishna wanted his children to stay with him day and night, and why not? They had pure hearts and pure souls. As yet they hadn't been bound by married life with its worldly obligations and responsibilities. He asked Babu Ram to stay when he was able, and occasionally he did stay. Adur Sen often came. Many devotees were sitting inside the room. Ramakrishna, like a little child, stood up. What was he thinking? All the devotees were watching. Individuals and the whole. Ramakrishna to Manmohan. God is looking at everything. I see Ram everywhere. You are all sitting here, and I see Ram has become each and every one of you. Manmohan. Has Ram become all of this, just as you are saying? You are Narayan, and the water is Narayan. Which water shall we drink? With some water we wash our faces, with some water we wash our utensils. Ramakrishna. Yes, but I am actually seeing that he has become all. He is this entire perceivable universe, and he lives inside it. Saying this again and again, he sat down on the small cot. Hold on to truth and leave all your doubts. Ramakrishna to Mahimacharan. Hey you have to hold on to truth. You have to perform every action with a pure attitude and dedication. If I suddenly say I won't eat, then even if I get hungry, I won't take food because I said I wouldn't eat. If I say I have to give some water to an individual, then I'll take the water. If somebody else takes them the water, I have to tell them to come back. What happened? Is there no other way? If you take something along with you, even if you have a small desire like wanting something to drink, you can't save up things for the future. At that time, someone came up and said, "Oh, great sir, Mahashai, Hridaya has come to the garden of Jodhu Malik. He's standing near the gate and wants to see you." Ramakrishna to the devotees. "I'm going to see him for a few minutes. You sit here." He said this and took the darkly polished shoes, put them on, and went to the eastern side. M went with him through the garden along the red brick path. Hridaya bowed down to Ramakrishna. On the south side was a door, and on the left of the sitting room, a blue hut. Gojitola was a bit to the southern side, and Pushkakarini Ghat, the steps of the Ganga, was right there. On the left side was the house for the doorman, and on the south side was an altar for Tulsi. If you looked just outside the garden, you could see Hridaya standing by the entrance to Jodhu Malik's garden. Second discussion. Hridaya was standing close by in an extremely respectful attitude, ready to perform seva. On the path in front of Ramakrishna, the devotees did Danda Pranam, while Hridaya did a full pranam. Ramakrishna told him to get up, and Hridaya stood up with his hands folded like a little child and began to cry. How fantastic! Ramakrishna himself was crying. One could see the tears falling from the corners of his eyes, but he wiped them away, hoping no one would see. What was this? This Hridai who gave him so much pain and so much trouble, he was crying for him? Ramakrishna, you just got here? Hridai, I came to see you. To whom else can I explain the pain of my heart? Ramakrishna, laughing, in this world of objects and relationships, you will experience many kinds of pain. If you go to do this worldly business, you will experience pain. If you go to do this worldly business, you will experience pain. Ramakrishna to M. These people come all the time. They listen to 2 or 3 words about God and then they have some peace of mind. Ramakrishna to Hridai, what pain do you have? Hridai crying, when I'm not with you, I have pain. Ramakrishna, but you said you stay in your own attitude and I'll stay in mine. Hridai, yes, I said it, but what do I know? Ramakrishna, so you are here today. Come another day and we will sit down and talk. Today is Sunday, so a lot of people are here who want to talk to me. Tell me, how was the rice harvest in our village? Hridai, oh, about average. Ramakrishna, you come another day. Hridai again made full pranam to Ramakrishna with great respect, and then Ramakrishna returned by the same path as he had come. M went along with him. Ramakrishna to M, as much seva as he did for me, that's how much pain I experienced. The more I ate, the more I became skin and bones. I couldn't digest anything, and he would say to me, hey, look at how I'm eating. You can't eat due to the qualities of your mind. Then he said again, what a fool, if I don't stay here, you don't have the attitude of a sadhu at all. Without me, you won't be a sadhu. One day he gave me so much trouble that I wanted to go to the Ganga and jump in. When M heard this, he was taken aback. He thought, this is fantastic. For these kinds of people, his tears are falling. Ramakrishna, he did so much seva. How did he become like that? He raised me just like one raises a child. I used to stay unconscious in the night and in the day. There were many days when I was ill. He used to protect me in such a way that however he put me, that's the way I stayed. What could M say? He was quiet. He began to think, well, I guess Hridai wasn't truly doing selfless seva without his own selfishly motivated desires creeping in. While they talked, Ramakrishna arrived at his room where many devotees awaited. Ramakrishna sat on his cot. The third discussion. Along with the devotees and various other individuals, Ramakrishna was going to discuss the attitudes and hidden meanings of the principles, the tattvas. Mohimanacharan and several devotees had come. One man was talking to Ramakrishna for some time. He was a devotee from Kronika. That's across the other side of the river, on the Hooghly side. Devotee. Oh, great sir, Mahasha, I hear you have this great attitude of samadhi. Why does it happen? In what form does it happen? Will you please explain to us what this attitude and samadhi is? Ramakrishna. It's just like Rama's great attitude. If any of her friends came to touch her, then the friends would say, "Ooh, don't touch her. She's got Krishna's love on her skin. Krishna resides in her body. If you don't feel God, you can't have this great attitude. If you go to catch the fish from the bottom of a deep pond, the water splashes just as you catch the fish. That is why the bob is like laughing, crying, dancing, and singing. You can't stay in the bob for a long time. If you just sit in front of the mirror and look at your own face, people will think you're crazy. Devotee. Oh, great sir, Mahashai, please show us what it's like to have the darshan of God. Ramakrishna, if you haven't done the sadhana, if you haven't done the karma, you can't get a vision of God. You have to be completely surrendered or dependent upon God. What will humanity do? If you repeat his name, sometimes tears will fall and other times not. If you go to meditate on God, sometimes you go very deep and other times nothing happens. First, you must do the karma. Then you get the darshan. Ramakrishna continuing. One day I was in a great mood and I went to see the Haldar pond. I saw that there was a lot of scum on the surface of the water. A man was pushing it out of the way so he could get to the clear water. He kept lifting up the water and looking at it. Since the moss and scum didn't stick to the water, he couldn't see anything. If you don't do the actions, you can't achieve devotion. You can't see God. You have to do meditation and japa. This is action required. You have to sing the names of God and speak of his qualities. This is the karma. You have to be generous in giving. You have to do yajnas. This is all karma yoga. If you want butter, you first have to make the milk into cream. Then you have to put it in a quiet place. Later, when the cream has congealed, you need to churn it with a lot of effort. Only then can you get the butter out. Mahimacharan. Oh yes, we have to do the karma. We have to produce the effort. Then we can gain the experience. We have to read and study an infinite number of scriptures. First comes knowledge, then comes contemplation of wisdom, then afterwards comes the vision of God. Ramakrishna to Mahimacharan. How many scriptures are you going to study? Do you think that just by thinking about it, it's going to be done? You have to produce the effort in order to achieve godliness. You have to have faith in the words of your guru, and you have to make the effort in accordance. If the guru is no longer here, then you will have to pray with deep sincerity. What is she like? She will let you know. What will you know from reading books? As long as you're marching to the marketplace, you're going to produce a great noise. As soon as you arrive, it becomes quiet. You can see clearly. You can hear clearly. Give me the potatoes. Take the money. That's what the marketplace is like. Ramakrishna continuing. When the ocean is far away, you make a lot of noise in your effort to get there. When you get there, you can see how many ships are out in the sea and how many birds are rising in the air and how the waves are rising and falling. You can see it. If you read a book, can you understand and feel what it means to be on the shores of the ocean? There's a big difference between reading the book and having the experience. Reading all these scriptures doesn't have the same nectar or the same taste as having the experience. It's necessary to discuss with others who have had the experience. When you speak to a rich man, you ask, how big is your house? How many trees are there? And how big is your garden? How many companies do you own? But you even meet him. Why? Before you even meet him, why are you so concerned with his accounts? If the servants go to the master, he doesn't even allow them in the same room. What do the explain about the company. You must make an effort to go and meet with the owner of the company. Then when you discuss with him, he will give you the full account. After you've talked to the owner, all the employees will salute you when you come out. Salam. Devotee. How do you get to meet the owner of the company? Everyone laughed. Ramakrishna. That's why you need to do the work. If you just say, God is that, and just go sit down and do nothing, then you're not going to get there. You have to go with great vigor and great effort. Go to a quiet place and pray to him, saying with great sincerity and longing in your heart, reveal yourself to me. You run after your attachments and desires with great fervor, but for once be a little bit crazy for God. Some people may say that such and such a person has become crazy for God. Good. Let them. Leave all things and just go call on God. If you say he exists and I know it and then do nothing, what will happen? There's a great big fish in the pond. If you just sit on the banks, will you get to eat fish? When you throw your net into the pond and the fish swims into it and you see the net moving, you get a lot of delight. You can even see the fish from time to time. The fish is constantly jumping. When you see him, you have the even greater bliss. One person wants to see the king who is very far away. He went a long way in one direction but did not find the king. Where is the king? After many tribulations, you cross a great distance and find where the king is. The means of success of attaining godliness, sincerity. Mahimachara. By what path or activity can we achieve godliness? Ramakrishna. By pure, unselfish activities you can get to him. It's not true that there is only one way to get to him. Become completely dependent on the grace of God. Then, with great sincerity, do whatever activity is appropriate in your particular circumstance. If you are deeply sincere, you will get the grace. You need an excellent means of union. Stay with sadhus. Have discrimination. Get a true guru. It may be that the oldest brother took responsibility for the entire household. His wife was very dharmic and had lots of intelligence. She had no consciousness that she was a married woman. Even though she was married, she did not engage in worldly activities. She had no attachment to the samsara, and with this dharmic union she was able to attain the grace of God and unite with him. First, we need the darshan of the saints. Then we need to develop proper discrimination. We must surrender to a true guru. These are all the grace of God. Ramakrishna continuing. In somebody's house, someone was very sick and on their deathbed. One sadhu gave the prescription to save the patient. In the Shoti Nakshatra, a certain period of astrology, some rain will fall. If you catch some of the rainwater in a skull and mix it with the venom of a snake who tries to catch a frog, and put that mixture into the patient's mouth, he will be saved. The relatives in the house where the patient was living looked at the astrological signs and went to try their best to save the patient. With great sincerity, they went to search for the ingredients. In their minds, they were calling on God, "Oh God, if you would give us all the ingredients to make this medicine, we will be successful in saving our beloved relative." In this way, they were going and going until at last they found a skull. While looking at the skull, it started to rain. One individual shouted, "Oh Guruji, I have found the skull. It's the perfect astrological configuration and the rain is falling." were calling with deep sincerity. After some time, they saw a big snake coming. They felt great delight in their hearts. They were so sincere that their hearts were pounding in their chests. They said, "Hey, Guru Dev, even the snake has come. Many of the ingredients are present. Please give us your grace and whatever else is needed to fulfill our objective. Please bring us the remaining ingredients." While saying this, he saw a frog. The snake went after him. The frog jumped over the skull and fell on the other side. The poison from the snake fell into the skull. The seekers were so delighted they began to dance. And that's why I say to you, if you are deeply committed and deeply sincere, all the ingredients will come together. Oh. The fourth discussion. Renunciation and living a householder's life, attaining godliness and renunciation. Who is a real sannyasi? Ramakrishna. If you have not renounced all the attachments of your mind, then you cannot attain to godliness. Sadhus and birds don't store up goods for the future. When you wash your hands with mud, you don't take the mud along with you. The sadhus don't take things along with them for the future. When Hridai was giving me a lot of pain, I thought I would go to Benares. I thought, I'll take a cloth. How will I take some money? That's why I didn't go. And all laughed. Ramakrishna to Mahima, you are worldly people. You say this and you say that. You protect your worldliness and also your dharma. Mahima Charan, even if we say it doesn't stay, it doesn't stay at all. Ramakrishna, near the Panchabhati on the banks of the Ganga, I was contemplating that mud was the same as money and money the same as mud. Mati taka taka mati. Thinking this way, I threw the money into the Ganga. Then I became afraid. I thought, have I become without any Lakshmi at all? What would happen if Mother Lakshmi closes her cash box? Then I'll have to become a businessman like Hazrat. Mother, you please stay in my heart. One person was doing tapasya. When the goddess became pleased with him, she said, take a boon from me. He said, Mother, give me the boon that I'll eat at my grandson's house from a golden plate. So receiving this boon from the goddess, the grandson got all kinds of wealth and golden utensils. Everyone laughed. When you have renounced all attachments from your mind, then your mind goes to God. Your mind just goes and stays there. He who is bound cannot be liberated. When you are away from God, you are bound. With all your worldly attachments and karma, you fill up your bowl, leaving no room for God. Why do children cry when they are born? They say, I was in the womb, I was in union, where did I come to? I was so happy contemplating God. Where am I now? Without selfishness, you should renounce all desires in your mind and then perform your work in the world. Is it necessary to renounce the whole world? Mahima. If you keep your mind on God, does this worldliness stay with you? Ramakrishna. Eh? How is that? If the world doesn't remain, where will you go? I see that wherever I stay, I'm in Ayodhya with Ram. This whole world of objects and relationships is Ram's Ayodhya. Ramachandra went to his guru in order to get wisdom and said, I'm going to renounce this world of objects and relationships. He sent Vasishtha, his guru, to Dasharath, his father. Vasishtha saw that Ram had extreme renunciation. He said, Ram, first reason with me, and then you can leave all this worldliness, okay? Let me ask you, is this world without God? If it is, then you have to renounce it. Then Ram saw that this entire perceivable universe and all the individuals in it are manifestations of God. Because of the truth of God, all of this is true, and I understand it to be true. Then Ram was silent. In this world, we have to fight against our desires and our anger and our passion, all these limitations of our individuality. We have to make war with all the desires. We have to fight against our tendency towards selfishness. After fighting with all these limitations, we have some ease. From the house, it is efficient to fight. You get your food. Your spouse gives you all kinds of help. In this age of darkness, there are various forms of life. Rather than roaming around to various places, sitting in one spot is more efficient. That's why one should stay in one's house like a fortress and fight from there. If you stay in your own world and fight against worldliness, the storm will pass. Sometimes the storm blows old dry leaves in through the window in your house. Whichever direction the wind blows, in that direction the leaves will go. Sometimes they land in a good place and sometimes in a bad place. God has thrown us into this world of objects and relationships. Now it's fine, just stay where you are. Again, God will pick you up with the breeze and blow you to a nicer place. In this world of objects and relationships, we want to surrender our soul. This is God's desire. He has placed us in this world of objects and relationships. What can we do? We want to surrender it all to God, even our own souls. If we do so, there is no more confusion or conflict. Then you will see that He is doing everything. Everything is God's desire. Devotee, what is the story of Ram's desire? Ramakrishna. In one village there was a very dharmic weaver. Everyone believed him and liked him. He would go regularly to the market to sell his cloth. If anyone asked him for the price of the cloth, he would say, it's Ram's desire. I spent 1 rupee for the thread by Ram's desire. I put about 25 paisa of labor, also Ram's desire. I will take 15 paisa as profit. And the price of the cloth is Ram's desire. I will charge 1 rupee and 6 annas. There's 16 annas to a rupee. Everyone had so much faith in this man that they would immediately lay down their money and purchase his cloths. He was a great devotee. Every evening after his meal, he would sit for a long time in the temple of Chandi and think about God. He would sing about the qualities of God. But one night, very late, he was not able to sleep. He just sat and smoked tobacco. At the same time, a band of thieves came down the path. They needed someone to carry the stolen load, so they grabbed him and took him along with them. Then they went into a house and stole all the goods and put it on the weaver's head. Just then the police came and all the thieves fled. The weaver was the only one left. They took him to jail for the night. In the morning he went before the magistrate. All the villagers found out and came to the courthouse. They said to the magistrate, he cannot be a thief. The magistrate said to the weaver, tell me what happened. And the weaver said, oh great sir, Mahashai, it was all Ram's desire. I ate rice that night, and that was Ram's desire. I was sitting at the Chandi temple because of Ram's desire. It was very late. By God's grace, I was thinking about him and singing his qualities and his names. By Ram's desire, a whole band of thieves came walking down the path at that time. They grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and took me with them, and that was Ram's desire. They stole all the goods from this one house, and that was Ram's desire. They put all the goods on my head, and by Ram's desire, the police came right then. I was caught, and by Ram's desire, the police put me in jail. And then, by Ram's desire, they brought me to you this morning. When the magistrate saw what a religious man he was, he ordered the weaver's release. Then the weaver said to all his friends, according to Ram's desire, they let me go. So you see, whether you conduct worldly business or you are a sannyasi, it's all Ram's desire. Just give it all to God, and in this way you can do all your worldly activities. If you don't give it all to God, what will you do with it? A clerk went to jail. When his sentence was up, he got out. Will he dance or will he work? If an individual is liberated while doing worldly actions, he will contemplate that he can live in this world without selfishness. He who attains to wisdom has a mind that does not float here and there. All places are equal. That which is over there is also over here. That means that God is in every place. Oh. Let's pause here and see if there are any questions about any of the material that we discussed this evening. Yes, please.
Swami, there's a discussion, in the discussion, Sri Ramakrishna talks about surrender.
Yes.
How does one surrender one's thoughts to God, Swamiji?
Well, first of all, think of the thoughts that you want to think about God. What are appropriate thoughts to think in the presence of God? What thoughts would God be like? If God were to come up and knock on the door of my brain and look inside, and what's he going to find there when he comes? Am I surrendering to God, or am I thinking about me and mine and all that I could have?
So when you're surrendering, you're not surrendering. You feel devotion. How do you know that you're silent? Just your devotion to your life.
Are there other questions, please?
Swamiji, Bharati from Sacramento. This is Pranam Swamiji and Ma Namaste. On page 237, Sri Ramakrishna says, I am the tool and she is the craftsman, I am the house and she is the resident, etc. How best can we develop this attitude and live with this idea 100% of the time?
All that we're teaching and all that we're demonstrating, Parvati Ma, is designed to take us into that realization that I become the tool in your hands. I surrender to the Guru and let your will come through me. All the functions of sadhana, the discipline that we're performing, asana, pranayama, puja, pat, homa, sangeet, nrit, pravachan, just what we're doing right now, tuning into the words of inspiration of a master and seeing how they apply to my life today. These are the ways by which we cultivate that attitude.
Question from Wendy from New Jersey.
Namaste, Wendy Ma.
Namaste, Ma and Swamiji. On page 251, can you please define Danda Pranam?
Danda Pranam is where you make yourself straight like a stick, like a danda. And you just make yourself completely straight and bow down completely.
Swami, it also says that Hriday did full pranam.
Yes.
Is that the same thing then?
It is the same thing. done the pranam and a full pranam, they're both giving 100%.
A question from Nanda from San Jose.
Namaste, Nandama.
Namaste, Ma and Swamiji. What should a sannyasi's attitude be towards money? Thank you.
A sannyasi will accept as much money as is required for the functions that he has to perform and then give the rest in charity. A sannyasi will certainly accept the money that is required for a certain budgeted performance. And for example, for today's meal, Bhiksham Dehi. And then the rest is for you to be used for charitable purposes.
Question from Parvati. Sri Ramakrishna says on page 254, you cannot stay in the bhava for a long time. Can you explain why?
Yes, you won't function. And you have to function. As Ramakrishna continually tells us, you have to do the karma. So you can go into the bhava and you can stay in the bhava for some time. But that time is limited and it's very, very short time within the scheme of things. I've seen Sri Ma go into samadhi for 2 days at one time. But she came out.
Not here.
Not
I did in the beginning. Now I'm busy.
That's right. So she's busy. And because of she's busy, she doesn't go into samadhi for a short time. The time between her samadhis gets longer and longer. And then we'll get unbusy and she'll go into samadhi for longer and longer and you'll be able to hear less and less of her words of wisdom.
Question from Nilima from New Delhi.
Namaste Nilima. Namaste Sanjay.
The weaver lived in thoughts of God and attributed all events to God's will.
Yes.
But even if he had defended himself against the thieves, that would have been God's wish. When we make a choice to make an action, is it free will or free will as mother wishes it to be?
It's both, Nilima. It's both. Because we're children of mother and father both. And mother says, you're going to get the fruit of your karma. You will enjoy the fruit of your karma whether you like it or not. And Shiva says, yes, but you have the choice to change it. What the response that you give